BOXTOROW's fifth countdown to kickoff. We're at Zweli's here in Durham, North Carolina. Thank you for joining us here on BOXTOROW.com. I'm your host, Donal Ware. This is our fifth event. As mentioned, we didn't have a chance to have this event last year because of COVID. We last had it back in 2019. And for these coaches, I mean, we're just grateful for these coaches. We're going to have 7 coaches that are going to join us today. As a matter of fact, you can see one of those coaches. We'll talk with him momentarily. Sam Washington is the head football coach at North Carolina A&T. We've got North Carolina Central's Trei Oliver, who is up next. Shaw's Adrian Jones. Fayetteville State's Richard Hayes, St. Aug's David Bowser, Johnson C. Smith's Kermit Blunt, and Livingstone's Sean Gilbert, all going to join us today on the 5th BOXTOROW Countdown to Kickoff. You know, it's that time of year when HBCU football is in the air, right? You've got the classes, the students coming back to campus, which is really great because last year was extremely difficult for a lot of these coaches. Most of the coaches, as a matter of fact, that you're going to hear from today. We know we had some spring football in February through May. But this is the time that we get things popping with HBCU football. By the way, this is the 129th year of HBCU football. It all began back on December the 27th of 1892 when Livingstone and then Biddle College got together. You know Biddle now as Johnson C. Smith, and those two teams got together. It was a low-scoring game. I think Biddle won it like 5-0 or something like that. The game was played in Salisbury. And so 129 years later, we're ready to start another HBCU football season, and we're excited to have these coaches, particularly from the state of North Carolina, coming to us. So with that being said, we're going to get started right now. In his 4th season as the head football coach at North Carolina A&T is Sam Washington. He came up from Greensboro. He's got some stuff going on. He came to Durham to make this happen for us, and he joins us right now on the BOXTOROW Countdown to Kickoff. What's going on, Coach Washington?
Oh, not very much. Just excited about the upcoming season. Looking forward to, getting back on the grass and doing what we do.
Speak to the anticipation in the spring, right? Last year in the MEAC, supposed to play. It ultimately did not happen. And again, for it to be the last year in the MEAC, wanted to kind of go out on a bang. Take us through that and how that was, not being able to play in the spring of 21.
Possibly the best way to put it is like on a roller coaster, a bunch of ups and a bunch of downs. And when you're in those low moments, it was very difficult. Half of the team, wanted to play, the other half did not. But we came to a team decision, not to play, and we chose not to play. And what I was most proud of, we stuck by that decision as a team. Not once did anyone say we could have, would have, should have. So I was very proud of that.
Let's speak to, it's interesting, like the core of your team comes back. That fascinates me because, at the end of the day, you didn't play in 20. You didn't play in spring of 21. You got the transfer portal where you got so many players, yet you were able to keep the core. Obviously, Mac McCain goes on to enter the draft. He's in camp now, as a matter of fact. But talk about how you're able to keep the nucleus and most of your players together, especially when you have this transfer portal where guys are going all over the place.
I'm not sure. By luck, by chance, whatever it may be, we're just grateful that we are and we're able to keep the nucleus of the team together. And of course, we got assisted by assists from the NCAA, allowing all those, seniors with no more eligibility, to come back for one more season. That in itself was a blessing.
Yeah. So let's talk a little. Everybody's talking about Jermaine Martin, right? You're running back. All American. Even you have a situation where, again, you didn't play in the spring, but he's still an FCS All-American. He's on the Walter Payton Award list. He had a phenomenal season in 2019, led the country with 23 rushing touchdowns. He led the country in yards per carry, 7.7. Talk about him and being able to have him back.
Oh, man, that's huge. And I am so excited to see exactly where this young man goes from here because of his hard work and dedication over the summer. He put in the work. and I'm one that believe hard work pays. And if you put in the time, you normally rewarded for it. So he's very excited, looking forward to the season, and we as well looking forward to seeing what he does.
It seems like maybe he's Mac McCain. He to me, I mean, I'm a novice. You're the football guy, but it seems to me that a guy like Jermaine could have gone into the draft and probably would have been drafted. Like he's playing on another level than anybody else. Was it a situation where maybe there's some things that he can work on, maybe some blocking, some things that can elevate his game in the next level?
Well, that's possible. For whatever reason, we just happen to have him back. But of course, he could have gone into the draft last year, and I think he would have been drafted. But he chose not to for whatever reasons. Now, are there some things that we can get better at? Absolutely. One of the things that we really focused on was him catching the football. Now, as far as blocking and running the football, he's pretty good at that. So if there was a weakness, it would be receiving.
Yeah. Speak a little bit. Let's talk a little bit of personnel. Jalen Fowler had a good 2019 season in a sparing role, if you will. Also, Kingsley Ifedi also comes back for you. Have you named your starter as of yet, or talk about how that battle is coming along?
I think we found out our guy.
Okay.
Yeah, Jalen is right now is penciled in as the starter, and I think he earned that right. He worked his butt off over the summer. He did everything that we asked of him, and went beyond. To be honest, and he's one of those kids that just work hard, make great decisions. He don't. What's a good way of putting it? He normally in the right place at the right time for whatever reason, and not only on the field. He's a good person, and he's a great student as well.
Got a plethora of receivers coming back. Zach Leslie and all of these guys. It should be a phenomenal time in Greensboro. Let's move to the defense. So all of those guys, all of the linebackers, you lose Mac McCain, but the defensive backfield should be pretty straight. Jermaine McDaniel had an outstanding 2019. He comes back as an All-American. Talk about how special. You've had some special defenses throughout the course of your career, but talk about how special this defense is.
Well, I'll put it this way. We have the talent, but we still have yet to put it together, so that's why we practice, and that's why we do what we do, and that's why I can't wait to 2:30 today's scrimmage to see exactly where we are and kind of, evaluate some people that we looking forward to, having a very successful campaign this season. So we do have a lot of returners that have played a lot of football for us, and that's to our good.
The thing you've had so much coaching experience. You played in the league. You played at Mississippi Valley State. We'll talk more about that. One of the interesting things for me is when you had your time at North Carolina Central, and two of the gentlemen that are going to be here. Up here, Adrian Jones, the head coach now at Shaw, Trei Oliver, the head coach at North Carolina Central. You recruited those guys to come play for you as student athletes when you were I believe, the defensive coordinator at that time at North Carolina Central in the 90s. Talk about that.
Oh, well, two great young men. And I don't rightfully deserve the credit for recruiting them. I was fortunate enough their parents were Eagles.
Okay.
So, I had that weapon, that secret weapon, in my favor. Both parents played football. Both parents were athletes. Both those young men played quarterback in high school. I played quarterback in high school. So, and they were just good people, and they say fruit don't fall far from the tree. And definitely in their cases, they had the best when it comes to home training.
Yeah, it's interesting. You got a bit of a coaching tree, right? As a guy that has only been a head coach, 18, 19, so 4 years in, right?
Yeah.
You got a bit of a coaching tree. Matter of fact, you mentioned Coach. You told me today, Coach Dawson Odoms who's at Norfolk State, was one of your players as well.
Absolutely. All three were on the same team. And, you knew then it was something special about them. Dawson played quarterback as well.
What?
And that's he was a high school quarterback.
Wow.
So there is a trend there, and now I think every high school coach is gonna put his best player at quarterback. And so those are the guys that we started and looked for, and were able to get it.
For you, how excited are you? The Big South, you're moving from the MEAC to the Big South. You played some Big South opponents over the last couple of years, most notably coming to my mind, Charleston Southern. But you got a Monmouth, you have a Kennesaw, who are perennial powers in FCS and in this now conference. How excited are you, A&T, et cetera, about being now in the Big South?
Well, the challenge is here. It is what it is. We all handle change differently. Initially, I wasn't too keen on it. Okay. But now that I see the opportunities and where we possibly can grow and, from here, it's becoming very exciting. And they say to be the best, you got to beat the best. And as you stated, both of those are very worthy opponents. And we're looking forward to those days when we go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, but still having some of your roots, if you will. South Carolina State's on the schedule. North Carolina Central got to be on the schedule.
Absolutely.
And they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Those are, the interstate and cross-state rivalries. And, I would like to believe that would never, lead the schedule.
Your time in the national, you played at Mississippi Valley State, played with the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you think, what do you remember most about your time in the National Football League?
That's a good one. The Rooney family, they are people that care. And I mean that sincerely. If you look at it, they have that Rooney Rule that will give a black man an opportunity, must give a black man an opportunity to at least be evaluated for a head coaching position. Those kind of decisions and, them standing out, on the limb for my people mean the world to me. Last
thought, with respect to that and sort of that, well, in a different kind of vein, this is your fourth season, but you had been an assistant coach a long time, right?
A long time.
Yes. Did you
I paid my dues.
You paid. If anybody paid their dues, you paid your dues and came in and is having success right now. Did you ever foresee yourself as a head coach?
Yes, I did. It's not something that I pursued per se, but I always, would like to. I wanted to be a head coach, absolutely. But I have no regrets in my journey. I had a wonderful journey. I had the opportunity to work with some of the best and the greatest people in the world. Met some of the best people in the world. Coached some of the best people in the world. So I have no regrets.
Hello, my name is Precious Rose Dunlap, and this is my mother, Michelle Timberlake Roll, founder of Marjorie's Beef Jerky Incorporated. We would at this time like to thank our new customers as well as our repeating customers for your business. For every 1 million orders that we receive, our company is giving $2 million away to divide amongst 400 of our paid customers. You see,
that's the way we roll!
So come place an order at www.marjoriesbeefjerky.com. That's www.marjoriesbeefjerky.com.
Marjorie's Beef Jerky is the best tasting beef jerky on this planet.
Marjorie's Beef
Jerky.com.
Yeah, that's right, because that's the way we roll.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
The last one. Brian, you are so awesome. The last one. That was good, ain't it? The orange teriyaki good.
What can I get for you?
Sugar Hill, baby.
Welcome to the sweet life.
Went on a quest for the sweet life. Start in Harlem with Sugar Hill Golden Ale. Taste the music.
Week in house, sort of the preparation coming along for that, especially having not played a game in essence 20 months.
It's been a long time, and I like the way the guys have responded to it. Camp, coming in from preseason and the summer, the guys did a really good job with retaining the information. I like our effort, I like our energy, and early on in camp, the offense was kind of getting the best of the defense. But the defense his last two scrimmages have really come together. So I like where we are.
Interesting. Isn't it generally, especially when you come back together, isn't it generally the defenses are ahead of the offenses? And I know as a defensive guy, I know that had to get at you a little bit.
Well, it was good to see, as a head coach, you're never going to be happy because the offense wins, you're going to be like, that defense got to play better. Defense plays well, offense got to play better.
True.
But we have still relatively a young team, and to see those guys, really bond and getting the timing down is good to see. We had a bunch of guys banged up early on, and we started getting those guys back. So, like I said, it was a very competitive camp, very physical camp, and the guys seem like they're ready to roll.
Want to get your thoughts on the 2019 season, your first as the head coach back at your alma mater.
Whew. You have to be patient.
Okay.
And we talk about following the process. Follow the process. And we always tell the guys, the young men, follow the process. But I think one thing I did learn as a coach, we have to follow the process as well. And, me being a competitor, I think we're supposed to win every game. We're supposed to win a championship. That's why you play the game. But as a head coach, as a coach, you still have to follow the process. And you understand what you're trying to build. And, it won't come overnight. But just to see the strides that the young men have made in our program, I think it's night and day from where we took over in January of 19.
Yeah. So, for you, okay, so it seemed like every time I look at either a preseason all-MEAC team or a postseason all-MEAC team, your running back, Isaiah Totten, is always on it, right? It seemed like since his freshman year, he's been all-MEAC, right? Of course, he's on it again. Speak to him. This is his senior year. But just kind of talk about him and what he means, not only on the field, but a guy that's a veteran and means to the rest of these Eagles.
He's a very good player, very, very good football player. Like you say, all conference every year, but he's a better person. 3.5 student, very mature young man, outstanding citizen in the community. He's the type of young man that you want in your program. And he, like I said, he can tote the rock. He's a great player, but we got 3 more of them back there that can flat out go.
Wow. Okay.
We got 3 more back there that can go. So it'll be running back by committee this year. We're gonna take a little bit of load off of them and get some of these other guys involved as well.
Yeah. Can you speak to those guys and sort of what they bring to the table?
All of them have a different skill set. Jordan Freeman, very elusive, fast running back. Totten is just an all-around guy. We have Mookie Collier, a young man out of West Virginia. I mean, last year, all he does is score touchdowns. I think he led the team in touchdowns. He's a blue-collar guy. And then we have, a Durham native, Jamal Curry-Elliott, and he's the fastest of them all, and he can flat-out fly. So all of them have a different skill set, bring a little something different to the table. But it's a very competitive room. The guys pull for each other, but there's a lot of talent in there too.
Your quarterback, I was impressed with Davius Richard in his freshman year. I mean, you're talking about a guy, true freshman if you looked at the numbers, I get it. But if you look at the numbers, a guy to throw for over 2,000 yards, a positive touchdown to interception ratio. He can move a little bit, get out of the pocket. He's got a good arm. What are you seeing from him right now?
Well, I mean, he's matured a whole lot as a football player. He's always been an outstanding young man. But, you know, when you're third string at the start of the season and then week 3 you're the starting quarterback, sometimes you have to be mentally prepared for that to be able to, you know, run the team and handle the offense. And I think that, you know, we put a little bit more on him as a freshman. You know, it was a little difficult. But I thought he played well as a freshman. Coming back, he's improved. But, you know, he has somebody nipping at his heels as well. We have a young man, Walker Harris, freshman quarterback, that's outstanding. So they've been battling, and that's been a battle all camp as well.
Just the whole COVID dynamic, what are you seeing right now? Because generally a lot of your recruits wouldn't be, especially the high school ones, like they'd be coming into camp, right? But those 2020 guys have gotten some reps in 2020 and now are getting those reps now, to prepare for this upcoming season. So can you kind of speak to that and what some of those 2020 recruit guys are looking like coming into this season?
Well, with us being out last year, we still, had an abbreviated spring ball, so we got a chance to evaluate them a little bit there. Then over the summer, so a couple of them will come in and help us out this year. We're hoping that obviously some of those older guys, the juniors and seniors, will be able to lead the team. But some of those guys will come in and get some playing time early on.
Your top 4 returning wide receivers were able to have receiving yards. If you look at the numbers, close or over 1,300 yards in 2019. Can you speak to those guys and sort of having really some experience coming back at that position?
Well, that helps because, like you said, when you have a younger quarterback, those guys have to, make the tough catches. And they know the game. They understand coverage. They understand how to run routes and get open and things of that nature. So just having a veteran group back there on the perimeter with those receivers, really helps. And that'll take some pressure off of our running game.
How good can this defense be for you this year?
We got to get better. We have to get better. I think that we could have a special season, though. Up front, we're very deep. At the defensive line, we have a lot of guys returning that have gotten, played quality reps for us. And with us losing the defensive back, Brian Mills, we'll have to have somebody, step up. And, it happens every year. You always have 1 or 2 guys that you weren't expecting, that really blossom and step up. So we do have a talented defense. It's just, we are young in a couple of areas.
I think that's a great point because when you go back to 2019, maybe Brian Mills was that guy for you. Like I'm sure you knew he was going to be really, really good, but I think you were the only offer he had coming out of JUCO. Right. So speak to him, and then of course, I think I saw he just signed with the Saints. I think he's in the Saints camp right now. Right,
and Brian came with this. We were his only offer coming out, and he wasn't here through the course of summer school and have opportunity to learn the defense. So when start of the season, Brian didn't even start. I don't think he started until after week 3. And we tell the guys all the time, you have to compete every day, every week. You have to compete. Just because you started last week doesn't mean you're going to start next week. So he, young man competed. I knew he was talented, and all he needed was opportunity. And when he got out there, he never looked back. Continued to work hard, and fortunately got an opportunity to make it in. Signed with the Seattle Seahawks, and like you said, now he's with the Saints.
I know for you, you take each game as it comes. So Alcorn State's the next team on the schedule. But when this schedule came out, did you? Because it's interesting. I didn't until Coach Washington mentioned it. I didn't realize you and Coach Dawson Odoms were teammates.
Tyrone.
Yeah, you did say yeah. You did say that was his name, right? Which is interesting because you were his, defensive coordinator at Southern. When the schedule came out, not recently, but when the schedule came out, did you sort of have that game sort of circled on your schedule? They come to you, I think,
right.
This year. Yeah.
Right. No, I didn't. We've been focused strictly on Alcorn. I don't even know who we have after that. But, I'm not big on circling games and all that stuff. Every game is equally important. And we take it 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time. But Coach Odoms and I did play together at Central with Coach Jones and under Coach Washington. So Coach is a great guy. I learned a lot from him while I was at Southern. Won a lot of games at Southern, and it's good to have him back in the conference.
Yeah, absolutely. What does it mean to be coaching the head coach at your alma mater?
It's like a dream come true. I always wanted to be a defensive coordinator. I wasn't really, itching to be a head coach because, you don't really coach as much. You're dealing with the media, you're dealing with the budget, you're dealing with the alumni, you're dealing with media and everything else, and you don't really have that true position to coach. And that's what I love to do. I love the game plan and, hands-on with the young men. But when the opportunity came for me to lead this program, it was a no-brainer. And I loved every minute of it. I appreciate Dr. Wickham McCree and Chancellor Akinleye for giving me the opportunity to come back. And, it's a dream come true.
What are you sort of maybe learning about yourself as a head coach? Yeah, I get it. You only had the one season of actually on the field because you're always coaching, but only the one season on the field. So in now year 3, what are you sort of learning about yourself as a head coach?
Well, again, just have to be patient. And like I said, everything's that's part of the process. And being a competitive person and wanting to win and having an opportunity to be a part of a lot of great teams, championship teams, that's what I expect. And like I said, the biggest thing is sometimes you have to be patient and just follow the process. But, I'm about winning championships.
Your playing days. So let's reflect on those playing days a little bit more. Our next guest, Adrian Jones at Shaw, played with him. You mentioned Tyrone Dawson Odoms playing under Coach Washington. What do you remember most about those days?
We had a very talented squad, very talented. And all of us are really good friends. We're really close then, and we've kept in touch over the years. And it's just great to see these guys being so successful. Coach Jones over at Shaw, Sean Gibbs was with us as well. He's the running back coach at North Carolina A&T. Coach Odoms. It's just so many guys. Our defense, we were ranked at, one of the top defenses in the country every year. And we were very talented.
You were all conference. I don't think I've ever seen that. Well, maybe somebody may have been all conference, like if they played, like a skill position and then was a return specialist, right? But you were all conference guy, not only as a defensive back, but as a punter.
People always ask how did I end up punting at Central, and when I came in, I was 4th-string safety, and I was trying to get on the bus, and I had some talented guys in front of me, just 1, 2, and 3. So I saw the punter out there punting one day at practice. I said, I can punt better than him. I can do that. So I went out there. Coach Wash worked with me a little bit, and 4 years all-conference punter. Luckily, week 2 I started. I was able to start at safety at that point, but I had to get on the bus, man. And if it took punting to get on the bus, so be it.
Last thought: Alcorn State next Saturday, ESPN game, MEAC SWAC Challenge. Talk about them, what they bring, and I think I think really for a lot of people, the good thing is they didn't play in the spring either, so nobody really has the advantage in that respect.
They're a talented group, and when they've won the conference, at least their side, the past I think 6 or 7 years, and I had some battles with them when I was down in Southern, so I'm fairly familiar with Alcorn, but they're a championship program, and that'll be a great test for us to see exactly where our program stands. But we're excited, looking forward to the challenge. But I think it'll be a good matchup.
Hello, my name is Precious Rose Dunlap, and this is my mother, Michelle Timberlake Roll, founder of Marjorie's Beef Jerky Incorporated. We would at this time like to thank our new customers as well as our repeating customers for your business. For every 1 million orders that we receive, our company is giving $2 million away to divide amongst 400 of our paid customers. You see,
That's the way we roll.
So come place an order at www.marjoriesbeefjerky.com. That's www.marjoriesbeefjerky.com.
Marjorie's Beef Jerky is the best tasting beef jerky on this planet.
Marjorie's Beef Jerky.
.com.
Yeah, that's right, because that's the way we roll.
The last one. Brian, you are so awesome.
That was the last part I got to say.
That was good, ain't it? The orange teriyaki again.
What can I get for you?
Sugar Hill, baby.
Welcome to the sweet life.
When on a quest for the sweet life, start in Harlem with Sugar Hill Golden Ale. Taste the music.
It's the 5th BOXTOROW Countdown to Kickoff, and we're having a blast. We've got a couple of more coaches to get to. So far, we've been joined by Trei Oliver, the head football coach at North Carolina Central, and Sam Washington, the head football coach at North Carolina A&T. It's interesting that these three coaches, we have these three coaches on first because they're, they have a real connection. As, of course, Sam Washington was their defensive coordinator when they both played at North Carolina Central. Of course, Trei Oliver, and my next guest, who, of course, is Adrian Jones, is the head football coach at Shaw in his 6th season. Prior to coming to Shaw, he was an assistant coach at North Carolina Central, and also before that, a high school coach right here in Durham, coached at Southern, where they won the 2013 state title. What's going on, Coach Jones?
What's going on? You make me feel old when you put all those numbers up, man.
Well, I got you, so that I don't know, So with that, I want to start here. The last year and a half for you, your staff, the coaches, how have you all been able to make the adjustment? Because at the end of the day, you haven't played football in about 20 months or so.
It's been a tough time, but at the end of the day, the structure, it helped us out to be structured. Our guys mentally, we got mentally prepared. We got bigger, faster, stronger, and we're able to sit back and watch football for a year, even though we didn't play. But they took the game away for those guys, and it makes them want it even more. So I think it really helped us out.
Yeah. 2019. Let's go back to 2019. It's a good season, right? Your best season, right? 6-4 on the cusp of the Southern Division. Let's talk about that season, and again, your best season to this point at Shaw.
It was a good season, and like I told our guys, it wasn't our time. We were right there on the cusp, but we weren't ready to be champs. I didn't think. We had to go back to the drawing board and figure some things out. But it was great to have a winning season because it helped out recruiting wise. We got some guys that we normally wouldn't have got. At the end of the day, but we beat a couple Fayetteville States of the world, the Bowie States of the world, on some guys that were really good football players. But it's just credit to my coaching staff for doing a great job of recruiting.
Let's talk about recruiting, because to me it seems like you'd have an in on recruiting as a former high school coach. I remember, I can't remember if it was this year or last year, one of the players you got, I texted you, I was like, man, that's a really good get. You guys have really been able to recruit some really good athletes to come to Shaw. And I mean, the thing is, there's a lot working against you at Shaw, yet it's a special place, and you're able to recruit special athletes.
Well, like I said, it's the coaching staff. A true story. One of the parents, I was talking about we don't have a lot of bells and whistles, and she stood up and she was like, Coach. She pointed at all my coaches that were standing up. She's like, y'all are the bells and whistles. So that's credit to our coaching staff that we got great coaches. And who doesn't want to be right downtown Raleigh? It's a beautiful area, and a lot of people don't know about it, but once they get there, it's like, oh, man, this is a great city.
Yeah. So Sidney Gibbs comes back for you, running back, rushed for over 1,000 yards back in 2019. Speak about him. It's a breakout season for him.
Oh, he had a great season. We're fortunate enough to get Sidney Gibbs, and our first 1,000-yard rusher since I've been there. But people don't know that they're like, we got a four-headed monster back there. We got Tevin Perry, who's back, who got injured. You got we got Andre, who's from Dunbar up in Baltimore, and then we got a walk-on by the name of Tay that's doing a great job. So we're fortunate enough to have some guys that can really play.
Yeah, Perry comes back, played at the same high school as Tariq Cohen, if I'm not mistaken about that. Yeah. So the quarterback, Torrin Campbell, threw for close to 1,800 yards, 19 touchdowns back in 2019. Again, it's a little while to have off, right? But you're always learning. So what are you seeing from him in practice in terms of how he's getting better?
Well, our thing was, he threw for 19 touchdowns, but he also threw for 10 interceptions.
I didn't want to say that, but
but we
did.
Definitely got to protect the ball, and I'm constantly on him. Being a defensive back, we want interceptions, but as a head coach, I don't want you to throw interceptions. So we're stickler about that, not trying to force balls into tight coverages and stuff like that. But he's been a good general. The first week he came in and was doing some things we didn't like, sat down with him man-to-man and had a talk with him, and sky's the limit now. He's doing everything we asked him to do.
Before I talk about your defensive backfield, a young man I want to talk about that, to be quite frank, I didn't think he was still playing, especially with all the transfers and all that. You didn't play and guys moving all over the place. But Devin Hunt comes back for you. He was a BOXTOROW All-American in 2018. He was not on the preseason All-CIAA team. I know that had to bite at him, but to give him also more motivation.
Definitely gave him motivation. He has a nickname of the human. What is it? The human something that Stan gave him, but human GPS. But he's definitely motivated. He's back healthy 100%. He is our leader. He's in grad school, getting his degree in education. What better way to finish up your career, getting a master's degree before you finish. But a lot of NFL scouts are looking at him. But the funny thing is, not too many people in the CI knew that he was coming back.
Yeah, because to the point he got injured in 2019. So that's an uphill battle to come back from that injury. I guess you won't really know if he's 100% till you all get out there, but in terms of what you've seen from him in camp, how is he looking?
Honestly, he is better than what he was in 2019. He is faster, he's stronger, and he's a coach on the field. When we have meetings, he's the guy running our defensive meetings. That's what you want in a football player. A linebacker is being that coach on the field, and I think that year off and looking from the outside in, what we've been talking about, to our guys, I think that really helped them and motivated them.
So that defensive backfield, Kevin Sherman, Jaleel Scroggins, both are preseason All-CIAA guys. I know that's got to make you feel especially good. Of course you're the head coach, but as a former defensive back, talk about these two guys anchoring that defensive backfield.
Well, you don't meet too many guys that start as a freshman, started as freshmen and ended their career as starters, and they're generals in the backfield. Jaleel Scroggins has a story. This young man got shot, in 2018, and we didn't think he was going to play in 2019. He was literally on his deathbed on my birthday, and it's just he has a story to tell. He's graduated, and he's getting his master's in accounting at North Carolina State. And not too many kids can say that, and is going to have an $80,000 job when he gets done. Kevin Sherman, I can't say much more about him, but it's just a football god. He loves football. He breathes, eats, sleeps it, and I'm just fortunate enough to have those two guys on our football team.
So who am I? Can you speak to, I mentioned a couple of guys. You also talked about some of the other running backs in addition to Sidney Gibbs. Who are some guys you're expecting to really step up in 2021?
Well, I won't name a guy, but our defensive line, Dad Sturkey, D'Angelo McMillan, were guys. Dad Sturkey is actually on the all-conference team. Those two guys are veterans, and I look forward to them playing. But our D-line, we got depth, and that's one of the biggest things. And what we're not used to is our offensive line. We're probably the biggest offensive line in Division II football, and they're young, but they're mean and aggressive.
How are you growing obviously some adversity specifically with respect to COVID, not playing in 20, not playing in spring of 21, 6 seasons in now. How are you growing as a head coach?
I think I'm growing. I'm a lot more patient. When I'm at my younger days, I was a lot animated, yelling at guys and stuff. And I think that I've kind of changed that, trying to be that buffer when, my other assistants get on those players. I try to come back and love them up. So that's one of the things. I want my guys to know that I love them. But at the end of the day, I think that my patience has gotten a lot better.
So I'm going to ask Coach Oliver this about you all's playing days at North Carolina Central. Again, Coach Odoms had no idea. It was at Norfolk State, played with you guys as well under Sam Washington was the defensive coordinator. What do you remember about those days? And that was to Coach Oliver's point that he made earlier. That was an excellent defense.
Oh, absolutely one of the best to ever play, at North Carolina Central. But the one thing I remember is that I remember Coach Washington talking to us and was like, man, you're going to be coaches one day. I remember having conversations, and we both were laughing like, yeah, right, we ain't going to be no coaches. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't for Coach Washington and his expertise at defense, I don't think either me, Coach Oliver, or Coach Odoms would be doing what we're doing today. But he taught us the game and demanded us to be good coaches on the football field. And I think that has transitioned to us being head coaches. Did Wingate play in the spring? I'm not even sure. They did.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a little bit of a difference. Even if they played whatever amount of games, 4 games, maybe 5, whatever it was. What is your preparation like for them? Because, in theory, they would be ahead of you because they've played as recent as 3, 4, 5 months ago.
Yep, and we've been able to dissect them, been able to look at them. But it's a good football team, ranked 24 in Division II football. We're going to know who we are the first game. But we played them in 2016. I think they beat us 56-0. I can guarantee you that it's not going to look that way. But we're going to have to go out and compete. We're going to have to play disciplined football, and we can't make mistakes against a good football team like Wingate. But we'll definitely be prepared.
Bears, of course, open the season on Saturday, September the 4th at Wingate. As a matter of fact, again, in his 6th season as the head football coach of Shaw is Adrian Jones, who joins us here on the Countdown to Kickoff. Appreciate the time, Coach Jones. We'll catch up with you during the course of the season.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
What can I get for you?
Sugar Hill, baby.
Welcome to the sweet life.
When on a quest for the sweet life, start in Harlem with Sugar Hill Golden Ale. Taste the music.
Hello, my name is Precious Rose Dunlap, and this is my mother, Michelle Timberlake Rowe, founder of Marjorie's Beef Jerky Incorporated. We would at this time like to thank our new customers as well as our repeating customers for your business. For every 1 million orders that we receive, our company is giving $2 million away to divide amongst 400 of our paid customers. You see,
That's the way we roll.
so come place an order at www.marjoriesbeefjerky.com. That's www.marjoriesbeefjerky.com.
Marjorie's Beef Jerky is the best tasting beef jerky on this planet.
Marjorie's Beef Jerky.
.com.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's the way we roll.
The last one. Brian, you are so awesome. That was the last part. That was good, ain't it? The orange teriyaki good.
Back here on the BOXTOROW Countdown to kick off here at Zweli's in Durham. We've had a wonderful time, have had a plethora of coaches that, as a matter of fact, have joined us. Sam Washington from A&T, Trei Oliver from North Carolina Central, Adrian Jones from Shaw, Richard Hayes from Fayetteville State, and, of course, David Bowser from St. Augustine. So now we have our coach who is here with us live. He's new to Livingstone. He's not new to football. Was an all-pro player, as a matter of fact, when he played in the National Football League for the Rams, for the then Redskins, now Washington football team, for the Panthers, and also for the Raiders. Again, in his first season as the head football coach at Livingstone is Sean Gilbert, who joins us here on the Countdown. What's going on, Coach Gilbert?
Man, just grinding, trying to get a team prepared. We got a game in 2 weeks.
I'm telling you, and first of all, I appreciate you, your SID Aaron, for making the trip up here. It's not terribly far, but to be able to make that trip, you guys got a lot going on to prepare for a game in a couple of weeks. We really appreciate that. What made Livingstone the right job for you?
I think sometimes like this timing and everything that you do, and the opportunity and the door was open, and I think it was the right place for me in terms of the opportunities to come in and try to help mentor and be a part of these young men's lives and use football as a tool to do that. And, meeting with the president, Dr. Jameer R. Jenkins, and Dr. Davis, and Coach Lamont Massey, I think we came to, the conclusion that this would be a good opportunity for all of us.
I look at the landscape of HBCU football and some of the pros that are coaching now. Deion Sanders at Jackson State, Tyrone Wheatley at Morgan, Eddie George is at Tennessee State.
Reggie's Barlow's right up here.
That's right, at Virginia State.
Yeah.
And now yourself at Livingstone.
Coach Massey, Robert Massey.
That's right. I mean, it's so many, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you can't, you just forget a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
Of course, coach at North Carolina
Yeah.
Central, of course. So, what does that mean? I don't know if you really knew HBCU before coming to Livingstone, but what does that mean to be at an HBCU now for you?
I think it's an incredible opportunity and experience, given that I went to a PWI and coming out of high school, those are the schools that are promoted to, players that are considered top players. I think if more opportunities are presented for HBCUs and the history that goes behind that, I think you would have more guys that would take advantage of that. So that's one of the things that intrigued me in terms of being able to come back and be a part of culture, and experience culture in its organic state and have an impact on young men's lives to help them understand from both sides of the fence you can still do whatever it is you want to do in life.
And also to be right at a place where you played a good amount of time in Carolina. I mean, you're not that far down the road from Charlotte and when you play for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina is my home. I've been here for over 20-something years. When I retired, raised my children, and watched them grow on and go on with their lives. So I think it was just timing and a great opportunity that presented itself and has put me in this position.
Of course, Sean Gilbert is the new head football coach at Livingstone. He joins us here on BOXTOROW's Countdown to Kickoff. So the new blue field, right? Like I've seen it. It looks good. Talk about talk about that.
Well, I mean, there's some exciting things that we've been working on, and we had a great opportunity to partner with the Honey Bear Project and Nadia Sellers, and them coming in and working with Coach Massey and Dr. Jenkins and so forth to help create new opportunities and give a new visual to the college. And so we want to increase all of our opportunities of exposure in a positive way, and I think this is one of those opportunities that does that for us.
So 40 returners from that 2019 school. I know you're new, but 40 returners. Sort of speak to that. Those guys that are returning, how much they can really help because they understand Livingstone, but then also how camp is going to this point.
Well, I mean, having 40 returners is one thing, but what we look at is guys giving everybody an opportunity to play. And just because you have returners don't mean that they're the guys that can get out on the field. So we're going to be a young team coming in, and we're building and establishing a foundation for what we want to do for the upcoming years. So we're going to take our lumps, and we're going to take our baby steps, and we're going to grow from there. As far as camp goes, camp has been, it's like in anything, you want perfect days whenever you go to practice. So, there's good days, there's bad days, and I think we're trying to we're doing our best job with our guys and trying to get them prepared and ready to go for Clark.
So let's talk a little bit of personnel. Have you named your starting quarterback as of yet?
Our starting quarterback is Miles Hayes. He's a returner. He had some injuries 2 years ago, but he's coming back. He's healthy, so he'll be our returner, our starting quarterback. Yeah,
and then talk about some of the guys you're expecting maybe to step up, whether it's guys from that 2019 or some of the guys you've brought in that are new.
Well, I mean, we're young, so we'll take the mature guys that are ready to step in and play the role that we want them to play. Most of the guys that we have coming back are maybe transfers, so we don't really identify anyone as of right now as being penciled in. We still have a few more weeks before we get ready, and we're just taking our time, but not taking our time, trying to make sure we put the right guys on the field. So you may have veterans also playing with freshmen, because they'll have the better continuity in terms of working together.
What has been sort of, because Livingstone has, when you talk about the football field, I mean, Livingstone has struggled over the years. What are some of the first things you did when you came in as the head coach to sort of shift or change the culture?
Well, it's always difficult when you're coming into a situation and you're dealing with young men that have already adjusted to, a previous head coach. So establishing what your expectations are coming out the gate are what you have to impose first of all. So guys can understand what your expectations are. And they have to look within themselves and say, am I ready to take this challenge, or should I do something different? And so we have some guys that say that, they'll take the challenge, and you have other guys that, they want to get into the portal. So for us, it's just a matter of finding the right guys that understand the system that we want to put in play, and then building from that. And that's what we've done. We've gone out and recruited some good young men that have a passion to play and want to have an opportunity to show that passion on the field.
Speaking of recruiting, when you go into, and I don't know, it may have been a little bit different. I don't know how many homes you could have gone into because of COVID and so forth, but you haven't played in the league. How much does that, the parents would remember that, right? Like, how much does that help?
Well, I'm 51, so, some of the parents might know, but then a lot of them, they don't have a clue. So when you're going into a home, I introduce myself as the head football coach, and then if information or questions lead over to opening up other doors, I do that. I don't try to go in and put an NFL badge out there, because they need to meet the coach as a person, not in terms of any accolades or success they've had, because they want to entrust their child to you. So it doesn't matter what you've accomplished. It's about how can you relate to that young man. And so, the pandemic hadn't given us the opportunities to go inside of everyone's homes, but we've used the Zooms and all of those things to recruit and build relationships with people outside, so that we can build the type of football team that we want.
I looked at your schedule. Like the first 3 games are on the road. They're against SIAC opponents: Clark, Savannah State, Allen. Speak to talk about that. That's tough. That's tough.
That's tough. Well, I don't think we'll given opportunities dealing with COVID. We don't have an easy game, and no one's going to take us lightly. One, coming in and being a new team, new coach, you gotta really get yourself prepared, because we're not the team you want to lose to. So for us, we approach every game as though, how are we giving ourselves an opportunity? And I share with my players, chance favors the prepared man. So, and that's just not in the game, but it's going to be from play to play. So that's what we try to empower our young men to understand, and we're working towards trying to get them to be consistent in their due diligence and wanting to be competitive on the field.
Have you all, I'm sure, have started scouting Clark? I mean, I know they didn't play either. So, I mean, it's good from that standpoint, because you got some teams that are playing, and the opponent played in the spring, which is maybe a bit of a disadvantage, but neither you nor Clark played in the spring.
You're right. We got a few days in the spring, but COVID kind of worked against us in that sense. So this has been the most consistent work we've been able to get thus far. So just like I said earlier, taking baby steps, this is what we're doing. We're not trying to put out a bunch of fluff or make people think that we're getting ready to do something. We're not. We're going to be humble, we're going to work hard, and we're going to get good results.
What do you remember most about you? Were a really good player, right? I don't know. I guess I won't. I grew up, I'm still a huge Washington football team fan. You played with us for one, but even before that, with the Rams, with the then Redskins, Washington football team, didn't play for 2 years, come back to the Panthers, and still that's tough to still be a really good player that haven't sat out for 2 years. But what do you remember most about your days in the National Football League?
Well, the days, what you get are great memories, and most of my memories will consist of relationships that I had playing. The game in and of itself is very tough and it's very demanding.